Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Cubs Daily, hosted by me, Steven Ryan. We got a lot of fantastic stuff today. We're going to talk about some free agent signings by the Cubs. We got an injury update on the Cubs third baseman, Matt Shaw. We got some new features to Wrigley to be discussed as well. And of course, we got to talk about our main man, slamming Sammy Sosa. But before we get into all that, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your thoughts on Sammy Sosa being back with the Cubs organization this week in spring training. We're going to get into it shortly, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it as well. Lots of positivity coming from that front, and it just makes me more excited for Chicago Cubs baseball. But ladies and gentlemen, let's start with one of the more recent acquisitions of the Cubs, and that is Matthew Boyd. Last season, he played for Cleveland. He's been on Detroit. He's been on Seattle. He's been on Toronto. And unfortunately, he hasn't had the greatest career. He's got a career 4.85 ERA. And 2 years ago, he had Tommy John surgery. But towards the end of last year, after his rehab, things really did pick up for him. And he was really impressive with the Guardians. Let's take a look at his career graphic here side by side. We got the career numbers versus last 10. A 4.85 career, not too bad, but we'd obviously like it lower. But take a look at the last 10 games down the stretch for Cleveland, and including the postseason. Had an ERA below 3, solid strikeouts. The whip was getting closer to 1, which is what you love to see with these starting pitchers, ladies and gentlemen. And, of course, over 34.1 innings. That's over a strikeout per inning. So these are the things you do like to see from Matt Boyd. He did sign a 2-year, $29 million contract with the Cubs, and he's looking to be slotted as that fourth starter for the Cubs. But this does provide some flexibility for them, right? If Matthew Boyd does not work out, because unfortunately injuries have been a little bit part of his career, he could kind of slide back to more of a bullpen role. There's a lot of strong young potential arms that I've mentioned before. Ben Brown, Jordan Wicks, Javier Saad, etc., etc. Those guys can kind of fill in those gaps here in the beginning of the season if Matt Boyd does get off to a little bit of struggling start. It's a very team-friendly deal. Like I said, 2 years, $29 million. We just got to see what he's got, right? Because if he is like these last 8 games, and that's your number 4 starter, you're going to be doing very, very well as a pitching staff. And like I said, 83.5 wins should be very easy. And if that's our 4th starter, the Central could almost guaranteed be ours on that front, which is absolutely crazy to think about, ladies and gentlemen, right? Insane to think about. Now, other side of that, the pitching. I think the Cubs pitching last year was pretty solid, probably more towards the middle of the pack. We'd like to see it reach more towards the top, but we know that the potential is absolutely there. The bullpen struggle in the beginning was very, very real, but Craig Counsell and the staff did turn it around after June 1st, becoming a top 3 bullpen in terms of earned runs throughout the rest of the year. We improved it with Ryan Presley, so on and so forth. So it'll be very interesting to see how the Cubs staff manages that team and how it produces into wins for the Cubs. Now, let's move on to some more fun, positive news. Obviously, before the offseason, Sammy Sosa apologized and let us know that he's sorry for all the things that have happened in the past, and the Cubs welcomed him back with open arms. Kind of suspicious how it happened, but I don't care. I'm happy to have Sammy Sosa in the organization, ladies and gentlemen. He's an absolute stud, okay? Sosa, raw power. Obviously, he's probably the best Cub I ever watched personally. The summer of 98, the whole 9, the only player in MLB history to have 3 consecutive seasons of 60-plus home runs. Loved Sammy Sosa as a kid. I know what he did was wrong, but you know what? We live and we learn, right? Sosa is allowed to be forgiven, as many other people have been allowed to be forgiven for their past mistakes. So I'm happy to see the growth from Sosa. And I loved seeing him in the Cubs dugout the other day, right? Teaching the young guys how to play the game, how to approach the baseball at the plate. We know Sosa had a great swing. Obviously, that leads to a lot of runs produced. Kevin Alcantara was dialed in. Vidal Brujan. Here's a quote from Sosa about Kevin Alcantara. He reminds me of me when I was coming up. I was cocky. I was confident. I think he's going to be a very, very good player. That's what you like to hear, personally. I love hearing that. Kevin Alcantara's streak of getting a hit in every game ended yesterday, but I don't care. If he's going to be big time, if he's going to take the lessons learned from Sosa and apply them, that's absolutely what you love to hear as a Cubs fan, right? Because he is the absolute man, Sammy Sosa. And Vidal Brujan, after listening to him on the bench, there are photos out there of him just peering in, listening, soaking in all the knowledge Sosa had to offer. He went yard in his first at-bat after listening to Sammy Sosa. Vidal Brujan is not a power hitter by any means, ladies and gentlemen, which is just awesome to see that maybe, there's a slight, drop in the shoulder or, getting to the ball quicker with the bat. Something like that. Maybe just the slightest adjustment led to Vidal Brujan knocking it out of the ballpark. Maybe it's not always home runs, but maybe he turns singles into doubles into triples, etc., etc. That leads to more runs lead to wins. That is how baseball works. I know, it's beyond silly and super simple, but that's how I see the game. Those little adjustments, that's what the game is all about, and you love having that kind of valuable asset in Sammy Sosa on your team to teach these young guys how to play ball. Speaking of another young guy, a guy that I was expecting to play third base a lot for the Cubs coming up this year, Matt Shaw. We did learn here on the radio station around town, 670 The Score, from our very own Bruce Levine, that there's no way he's going to be ready to compete over in Japan during March 18th and March 19th opening day ceremonies. But you want him healthy for those other 160 games. Obviously, Matt Shaw is kind of a key piece to how this all is going to work for the Cubs this year. He has a lot of power potential, and the Cubs need him in that lineup to pair him essentially with Kyle Tucker to get maybe, I don't know if he's going to hit 30 home runs this year. That'd be amazing to see, but they want him to become a 35 home run hitter for the Cubs down the line at third base, second base, wherever he ends up playing. But obviously, for him to play, the Cubs need him healthy, and he has an oblique strain, which is, right kind of where in the power zone you get. I know it's all in the hips, but you use your oblique to turn, you use your oblique to generate force on the ball. So, Matt Shaw, we need you to get right, man. So if you're not available for Japan, get ready for domestic opening day on March 27th against the Diamondbacks, because, that is when we're going to truly, truly need you this season. And again, there's going to be some growing pains. He's going to be a rookie, but I'm very, very excited for Cubs #1 prospect Matt Shaw to get a good look at third base. Now, what does this mean for third base in the interim? Probably going to be John Birdie or Justin Turner, whichever one, the Cubs see fit for the matchup, right? Justin Turner, obviously teammates with Yamamoto and Sasaki, so maybe he has kind of more of an inside track at how they'll play. Maybe they'll give him more of an advantage. John Birdie, more known as a speedster, has been getting reps at third base, so the Cubs are going to probably plan to use him at third base in the upcoming future until Matt Shaw is ready to go fully on that front. So we need Matt Shaw to get right. I don't think he's played in any spring training games yet this year. So Matt Shaw, rest up, get healthy, keep doing your work. Let's get this guy ramped up for the 162-game grind of the MLB season. And we need him to play. We need him to develop. Because honestly, I'm not saying it's a humongous part of our team, but a healthy amount of how special this Cubs team could be hinges on how special Matt Shaw plays this year as a rookie. So there is that rookie curve. I'll get more into it, the more content that we do. Rookies learn, but you know what the also beneficial of being a rookie is? No one knows you. No one knows how to pitch to you. No one knows how to do anything to you. So there is that special advantage, right? Like the Giovanni Soto of 2008, Rookie of the Year, hit 280, 20-plus home runs, fantastic season. Giovanni Soto after that, Major League Pitching figured him out. They adjusted. Never was the same. Bounced around to multiple different teams after a few years with the Cubs. And honestly, he never had a year as good as his rookie season. So sometimes when it's your rookie year, that is the time to strike. While no one knows how to pitch to you or handle you, maybe that's where the Cubs can take advantage and become a sneaky, sneaky World Series contender this year. No doubt about it. Now, speaking of the Cubs, going to Wrigley, enjoying yourself, ladies and gentlemen. The Cubs every year try to add something new, whether it's to the menu, whether it's to an attraction at the ballpark. And this year, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to be introducing a section in center field called the Yard. Now, I imagine, I'll show you some pictures that they generated here in a moment, but it's going to be in center field. I believe it's going to be probably right behind where the TV cameras are. Where the but the bushes are. Right above it are the cameras. And then right above that, I believe, is going to be the Yard. There's a lot of beautiful rendered photos here that you guys got to see here. I will scroll to them here in a moment. Take a look here. Absolutely beautiful. Love the look of it. You can just watch the game from center field. Some of the amenities are absolutely fantastic. You know, you're going to be allowed to get in 90 minutes before the game. Unlimited beverages, drinks, and you are complimented one meal during the game. So, looks like a lot of fun. As for this personal Cubs fan, when I go to Wrigley Field, you know, starting next year, I like to sit right where those guys are above them, right with everybody else, talking baseball, getting that aerial scenic view of the Cubs. That's personally where I'm going to be sitting next year. I'm going to be enjoying my $18 beverages because honestly, I don't need that many beverages to enjoy myself at the ball game. Before I go in the game, that's where you strike. That's where you eat some good food, get a couple in you, and then you go watch some baseball. So I'm excited for baseball. It's almost March. It's almost here. Guys, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and of course, comment down below what you're most excited about for the Cubs this year. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.